Thank you. So we are approximately parallel to where there's Taisus Mishasha Ani Knas. Adam Chachirahu. So backing up, just that that we said that we brought a raya from this pasuk that the night ends with Tzeisak Lechavim. Right? Now the Gemara says, Kasaka Daitach, you might think, based on everything we said till now, you might think the Oni, when does a poor man eat? Ubnei Adam, and people and everyone else. Chachiruhu, it's all one share. That's the same time. V'ani v'kayen, and the ani and the kayen is also chachiruhu. Meaning that when the kahana eat truma, you might think that's all one share. Why? Raminhu, and we have a contradiction. So when when do you say Ma'ariv? On a base parallel to Taisus Afapi. So when do you make it? When do you say Shema? From when the Kahanim are Tahar. Reb Meir Aimer. Mishasha Kahanim Toivlim Lecha B'Chumasan. From when the Kahanim Toivel. Amalei Rabbi Yehuda. So Rabbi Yehuda said to Reb Meir, V'ale Kahanim B'Yayim Toivlim. What do you mean? When the Kahanim Toivel? Kahanim Toivel in the day. They can be Toivel 4 in the afternoon. Kahanim don't wait till night to be Toivel. So what type of time is that? Right? Shash Kahanim Toivlim. He doesn't seem to answer. Reb Chanina Omar, this is the shita we saw before. When do you say Krishma? For when the Oni dips his bread in salt and eats it. Rav Achai, V'amila Rav Acha. Shaila, who was this? Was it Rav Acha or Rav Achai? You go with the majority. When do most people eat? That is when you say Krishma. Okay. Now the Gemara asks, V'amras ani v'kayin chachiruhu Rab Chanina hainu Rabbi Yeshua. If you're going to tell me, if you want to say the oni, when does the oni eat his bread? The same time that the kayin eats his truma. In that case, Reb Chanina is Rabbi Yeshua. Because again, Reb Chanina said, and Rabbi Yeshua said, when the kanim mutuarim lecha b'trumasan. So why is the Bryce bringing two shitas if it's the same shita? They have to be two different times. Well, they each call the same time. They each call Tzeisek Chavim something else. It's all 6 p.m. It's all Tzeisek Chavim. He calls it ani. He calls it kanim. Why are you making a machlekes if there's no machlekes, right? The kasha is right pasha. So, Ella, Lav Shraman Ashur the Ani Lechud V'Shur the Kain Lechud Shmamina. You see from here that must be at different times. Ani eating and the Kain eating is obviously two different times. The Mefurish or Brisa, that are two different zmanim. Gemara asks now, Hi Minay Me'uchar. Which one of these is later? The Kain or the Ani Mistavra. That the ani is the later time, the e amad, and tell me the ani is the earlier time, and the Achronim, the Rav Chaim explains that this means that there's no other time. When else? There's no one else. When nowhere else it could be. So the Shem B'Erev Shabbos. Take a look first in Rashi. What's going on over here? Take a look in Rashi, Mishash Kiddush Hayom B'Erev Shabbos. It's just above where we started reading on the left. When is this Kiddush Hayom B'Erev Shabbos Shia? Rashi says, what is Kiddush Hayom B'Erev Shabbos? Hainu Ben Hashmashai, Safek Yom, Safek Laila. They're given the Safek Kiddush Hayom Safek. So people would make Kiddush, Ben Hashmashai. After Shkia, before Tseis, they make Kiddush. That's when they make Kiddush, Ben Hashmashai. It's Kiddush Misafek. Why did they do Kiddush Misafek? I don't know, but that's when they did Kiddush. Ben Hashmashai, right? So, if they're making Kiddush Ben Hashmashai, so when else could this shir be? When else could Reb Chanina's din be? So Achronim, maybe it's Shkia. If the earlier shir is Ben Hashmashai, so maybe he said say Krishma by Shkia. So what the Achronim say is that it can't be his shir is Shkia, because then it would just say Shkia. Everyone knows what Shkia is, apparently. That's easy to know. You see the sun going down, boom, Shkia. What you have to start giving me Ramazim, Ani eats his bread, just say Shkia. In other words, if the shir is a night shir, Tzeisik Chavim.
Is Shkia at 8:15 or is it 8:13?
Exactly. You might be off by 30 seconds, but you're going to say Krishma. I don't think we're makpid on the second. That's what the Mashmai says here. It's a general time period. So if the shir is at night, we said you have to say when the Ani eats, because people can't see the stars at night. Why? They don't know the size of the stars. We don't know if it's cloud. It might be cloudy. You don't see the stars. But people normally see the sun going down, right? You see the sun going down? Oh, that looks good.
Low sugar.
Yeah, right. You see this. Everyone knows what Shkia is. Just say Shkia. So it's not Mistavra that you say Krishma. Also, others want to say that it's Shkia is not night yet. Why would you say Krishma at night? It says B'shach Chof Mecha. Either Laila or Zman Shchiva. Why would you be saying Krishma Shkia time? That's the other question, right? So let's keep going in Rashi. There's another interesting Rashi over here. Important to see.
The non-gemorah answer is reasonable, at least in my mind. I'll tell you what my mind is. There are certain people, farmers, Bedouins, who know b'diuk.
When is Shkia?
Not when it's Shkia, when things are meant to be, like, it's ingrained in them.
Okay.
They don't need the sun, they don't need the moon.
You got to prove it to me. Okay. Take a look at Rashi. So Mishash Kahanim Tevim, when did Kahanim go to the mikvah? Mishash Kahanim Tevim Hainu Kainu Ben Hashmashais. They go to the mikvah Kainu Ben Hashmashais. Now take a look in the next Rashi. Valakanim B'Yod Yomim Tevim. So Rebbe Yehuda says, what do you mean? Kahanim go to the mikvah before Shkia? Or you say Krishma in the middle of the day, an hour before Shkia? What's going on over here? So Rabbi Yehuda l'tamei da'amar b'babei madlikin that what bein hashmashais is mahalech chetzi mil. A mil is approximately, it's a machlekes, it's about 18 minutes, right? It takes 18 minutes to walk a mile, right? So bein hashmashais is half a mil. Dahainu 9 minutes. The Gra says it's a Torah Sefer, it means 2/3 of a mil or 3/4 of a mil. So machlekes, if bein hashmashais is 12 minutes, if it's half a mil, if it's 2/3 of a mil or 3/4 of a mil of 18 minutes. Okay, but either way, so it's mahalachetzi mil kodim teisik achavim kari ben hashmashis, and the part of time between shkia and says that's called ben hashmashis. Ben hashmashis is between this day and that day, between Sunday and Monday. Ben hashmashis, half a mil. You've got 12 minutes. You've got 9 minutes. You've got whatever. It's 15 minutes where you don't know if it's day or night. And there's no chaylik. Everyone agrees in the Gemara and Talmud that there's benish mashas, where you don't know if it's day, you don't know if it's night. After Shkia. Question is, how big is that benish mashas? We're going to see in a second. Now, when did nichasim lahasev? It says nichasim lahasev. B'shasha b'nei adam nichasim lahasev. Next Rashi. So it's a very important Rashi. We'll see soon. Nichasim lahasev is dami b'moisachal. This dami b'Shabbos. It's a machlekes. Rashi says, if this means on Shabbos or during the week when people eat. Because we call makam mochahu. But either way, it's a later time, Rashi says. When do people eat? The Ani eats earlier and everyone else eats later. Whether it's eating on Shabbos later or they're eating during the week later, everyone else is eating later. So it says the Gemorah, We're back parallel to what they says Omar, lost Isis. Well, one line below that. Which one is later? Mistavr Ani Mocha. It's logical that Ani is the later time. Why? Even until now we said Ani is the earlier time. Remember. We said now Ani, he wants to eat when it's daylight, he eats early. Now the one says no, Mistavr Ani Mocha. The Amis Ani Mukdam, if you're going to tell me that Ani is Mukdam, Rav Chanina Hainer Reb Elazar, and that's the same Shita. So we see from here the Ani is really the latest Zman, the Ani eats later. Okay.
Why? I don't understand what.
So why is Ani eating later?
How do you determine that?
Well, there's no other time it could be, we said. The Gemara says, it can't be Ben Ishmashas, we've got Ben Ishmashas. It can't be Shkia for whatever reason. Shkia can't apply, the Achronim say. It can't be Tzeis Chavim, we said Tzeis. So when is it? They eat later, they eat after Tzeis, they're Aniyim. So why are they eating later? I guess they come home, they're the last one, the Rishonim say, they lock up the store latest, they need to work latest. Everyone else goes home, daylight, and they're the last ones to lock up. They're the last ones to go home, they need an extra half-hour work, they need to make the parnasa budget. Right? That's why the Ani eats later. Okay. The husband of the Gemara was Ani eats earlier because he wants to come home when it's daylight. Everyone else can afford candles. Maskana is that even though Ani, I guess, can afford candles, the hour work is worth it for him to burn half a candle. He gets an extra hour's working. Or he eats in the dark without the candles. Or, moonlight. I don't know. He manages. Maybe there's street lights. He opened the door, he got some street lights. Okay, so says the Gemara. So we saw the Ruhida said to Rav Meir, how could you say the Zman is when the Kahanim are Toivel? The Kahanim Toivel when it's day. Kahanim are allowed to be Toivel at night. They have to be Toivel in the day, and then at night they become Tar. Right? That's the Mefurish Pasuk. They Toivel in the day. So Shapika Amalei Rabbi Yehuda Reb Meir. So good kasha. Rabbi Yehuda really slugged them up. Rabbi Yehuda really knocked them out, right? For Reb Meir Hachika Amalei, but this is what Reb Meir says back to him. Me Savas Don Bein Hashmoshes Tidach Kamina. You think I'm talking about your Bein Hashmoshes? Now, do you believe there's a Bein Hashmoshes that goes on for 12 minutes, for 9 minutes, for 15 minutes? Ana Bein Hashmoshes to Rabbi Yosi Kamina. I'm paskening like the Bein Hashmoshes of Rabbi Yosi. Now, the Omer of Yosi, last line in the Gemara, Bein Hashmoshes Karafine. There is a Bein Hashmoshes, but that Bein Hashmoshes Karafine, the blink of an eye. I always wonder where these English, lingo come from. The blink of an eye. It's a Gemara, Karafine, blink of an eye, right? That's where it comes from. Why would you say the blink of an eye? Yeah, that's the shortest time frame. Blink of an eye. So there is a Bein Hashmoshes, happens in the blink of an eye. So in other words, when the Kahanim Toivel, right then. It doesn't mean they Toivel 12 minutes before it says, 15 minutes before it says, half a mil before it says. They're Toivel a second before it says. That's Bein Hashmoshes. In that case, they can say Shema right then and there. So Bein Hashmoshes is a split second. You can't be aiming on it. You see Shkia, boom, nighttime straight away.
But is there a practical possibility to do it within that?
It doesn't. You don't,
time period?
But you don't have to be Toivel in that second. As long as you're Toivel before nightfall.
Is it possible to? All right. So is it possible
Let's
to
Can you
discern that moment?
Well, you know when Shkia is. You see the sun's about to go down. They have to do Toivel split second, and then it's straight away nighttime. So when you're Toivel, you can say Shema. I don't really understand. I didn't see anyone answers, but so what? But it's still day. Who cares if it's 12 minutes before night, 15 minutes before night, or a split second before night? It's still before the nightfall, right? The table of the day, that we've established. Who cares? You wanted to say originally it's 12 minutes before, that's a kasha. But now that we know it's only a second before nightfall, that's when the table is a second before, that's when you say Krishma. Okay, but it's still day. What did you help? I don't know. I guess there's no problem with that. That's called Zman Shchiva. In other words, like we said yesterday, you can't say Krishma when you're sleeping, right? It's got to be before you sleep. So Zman Shchiva is Zman Laila. And you say it right before, Somach, immediately before you go to sleep. So I guess you could say Krishma immediately before Tzeis. That's also okay, as long as it's not 15 minutes before. That's not Samach. So says the Gemara, Gimel Amud Aleph. Today's Amud. We got there eventually. Kasha the Rav Meir. So you got a contradiction of Rav Meir and Rav Meir. Why? We had originally Rav Meir said. Here we just saw this price. Rav Meir says Tfilas Kahanim. Before we saw Rav Meir says Achilas Truma. When the Kahanim eat Truma. So what is it? When the Kahanim eat Truma. When the Kahanim eat Taival. Contradiction. So the Gemara answers, Trey, Tanai, Alibid, Meir. There's two different Tanaim who are arguing in what Rav Meir's Shita was. They knew he was talking about Kahanim. We was talking about when the Kahanim eat Truma, we was talking about the Kahanim Taival. It's definitely Rav Meir holds it's something to do with Kahanim. And there's two different opinions in the